Hey guys, thanks so much for joining us again for our roundtable discussion. We're again just trying to help give you relevant tips and pointers on what we're seeing happening in the real estate market in Columbia in general. The good news is it looks like, in my opinion, things are actually starting to open up a little bit for the first time. I pulled stats this morning. We're starting to see houses over 450 go under contract, which is great. There was even one over $1 million that went under contract this past week. So in the downtown market, so that's a good sign. In my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, this is the week, 75 of coronavirus now?
Seems like, judging by my hair day, they need to open up the barbers again.
So I think it's really, the pendulum swung very quick and very hard. Mm-hmm. Chase Bank obviously came out and said, we're not really doing anything under 700. And I think what it did is banks took advantage of the opportunity to really constrict because we were growing so fast as an economy. Through mortgages and everything else that they just said, you know what, now's our time to stop it, make sure we get our house in order in case there's another. And now a couple weeks later it has loosened back up. So I agree with you, but I'm still not seeing real low credit scores coming through.
No, they're still pretty aggressive on the credit scores.
Yeah. If you look at numbers, I pulled numbers on the MLS. So I looked at like the last 45 days because there's always, you can look at what's pending. I like to see what's closed. And if you compare this year to last year, it's not too far off. I think last year, if I did the numbers from March 17th to like May 2nd, right? So that's kind of the stint if you've closed in that time we didn't know if you're going to close or not. Right. This year from that time to this time, you're looking at about, in the MLS for single family homes, I think it was right shy of 1,600 homes have closed. Last year it was 1,700. You were saying there's one that closed for 1.6 million in that time. Last year there's one that closed for 1.7 million. Average last year, or like median, not average, was like 207 price point. Right now it's like 235. Days on market, median, not average, sorry. You're looking at about, for the homes that closed in those last 45 days, 740 of them closed within, or went under contract within 2 weeks. Yeah. Things are still moving. Guess what? Last year it was like identical. Yeah. So the numbers are off by about 100 homes, and that's for the whole MLS, and that's single family home. So
you really did your homework for this roundtable.
I've got a little more free time, but it is an interesting thing because this is spring to summer. This kicks things off, and I mean, if we were going to have a downward slope, you'd probably see it. But if we're only off by about 100 homes or so for the whole MLS, and if you're telling me median numbers are still going up, then I mean that's really what concerns me. Anything at the higher end, I mean, that's nice, but that's a smaller part of the pie. What really gets me is that middle chunk.
Like the middle part of the pie.
Yeah. There's more of it.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to crust. Well, I'll also say like the trend last year, 2019 over 18, we actually saw less houses closed too, but volume was up. So that could even that $100 house difference may not even be with coronavirus. I am curious about June though. Like May, we're about off 5%. And last May was just about everybody's biggest May they've ever had. I mean, at least been doing the business for a while now. So I'm curious. June is really going to be the litmus for me on how.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we're in a 90-day market, usually in real estate. So if we close in May, obviously we were looking in March, and a lot of people were still okay. Things were still open. I think what's going to be interesting once lockdown happened to see what happens with those numbers.
I think the biggest thing is just if you're afraid to sell your house, you shouldn't be. Inventory is still low. I mean, and it's still moving very quick. I mean, things I was pulling. It's funny how when you look on the MLS and you try to do a comparative market analysis for like 1,500 homes, it only allows you to do 500 at a time. But if you just did 500 at a time, you do days on market, it's like 3 pages of 000. So that means things are moving like in less than a day.
And not just the hotspots. I mean, we're even the places that you typically have a little bit higher days on market just because there's more houses, more like the bedroom communities, I call them, like up in the Northeast, where it's just nothing but neighborhoods upon neighborhoods because they're commuters that either go to Charlotte, come to Columbia, whatever. It's nuts. I mean, they're going,
and it's getting crazier. Like things are heating up as they should, which a normal market about now is when things really start to get kind of gangbusters.
Yes.
So, and they are. I mean, my busyness has gone through the roof in the last 2 weeks, which is normal.
So let's do some foreshadowing, if you will. Let's say they've already started to release some of the restrictions. So it becomes a huge seller's market. Let's say it does. How can buyers that think about buying now that the pandemic's over, or sellers think about selling the pandemic's over, what are some words of advice that we can give them without obviously being clients of theirs? But
Yeah, I think it's
multiple
important
offers, something like that.
I think it's important for buyers to start working on their pre-qualification now, even if you don't think you're going to buy something right away, because that's going to make you more competitive.
Right.
Especially if you get in a multiple offer situation, to be able to have a pre-qual letter to say, yes, I have a job.
Right.
My credit is where it needs to be. I wouldn't wait. I would start doing that now.
Yeah. And there's a thing called underwriting, which is like the rule people of the mortgage industry. I'd go ahead and see if you can underwrite you as much as possible without having a house selected. Because it's one thing to have a pre-qual saying, yes, I can buy this house. It's another thing, I can buy it, and 75% of the check boxes that need to be checked are already checked off, like my income and employment and all this stuff. So I think that's a good point.
Yeah. And I think for sellers, just because it's a seller's market, that doesn't mean that buyers will just jump on anything. They're jumping on the things that look like Pottery Barn, that have most of the repairs made. So for sellers, I would start buttoning it up. Yeah, I would start, pressure washing. I would start cleaning. I would start painting. I would start getting it really nice, because that's the stuff that buyers are jumping on. They're not jumping on the things that don't make a good first impression.
I'm going to say something. Sellers, it's a seller's market, and you might go to multiple offers. Don't be an asshole. Like, I can say that. I'm saying it because sellers
I would agree. No one likes it.
Sellers become assholes. And we've had several multiple offers recently that we had the sellers. And they got too big for their britches, and they took offers, or they tried to negotiate on offers they shouldn't. Like, it was already over asking, and you're trying to negotiate back with them. Like, guess what? Both buyers went away, and they were left with nothing.
Yeah.
And that 0 days is already gone. Yeah. Like, so I'm not just,
you have to be grateful for what you have.
Be grateful, get paid, get your money. Buyers are coming in knowing that if you select their offer, they're very grateful for that. And I think it can be a good experience. It doesn't just be understanding. Like, not necessarily the golden rule, but like, you don't hold the keys to the kingdom.
And trust your advisors.
Yeah.
And call
only
us
if,
to be
only
your
if they work.
advisors.
Yeah, only they work here.
And call us to be your
I do want to, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to piggyback on what Brad said just a little second ago about the buyer side, because I know you touched on the sell side. Also, if you're buying a house, go in and find yourself a buyer's agent. Doesn't cost you anything. Don't shop around all day, or just seeing someone on Zillow, or just calling the listing agent off the sign to get in a house. In a competitive market, things go on the market, but they're going to go fast. So it helps if you have someone looking and knows the stuff before it's coming on the market. So it'd be good to go in and establish that relationship. It's free, so I don't know why you wouldn't do it.
We're having to get crafty. We're sending letters. We're doing targeted Facebook ads. We're doing all this stuff to find houses. We just sent 1,500 letters, which we typically don't do, but we were looking for very specific properties with requirements that our buyers wanted. Yeah. So like, sometimes what you're looking for is not on the market, but doesn't mean those people aren't willing to sell.
Yeah, we got to go find it.
Yeah.
So,
and if you are willing to sell, call us before you're like ready, right? Because it could take. I mean, it's taken some of our sellers 2, 3, 4 weeks to get their houses ready based on our recommendations, and our recommendations are gold.
Right. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for watching this episode. And of course, if we can answer any questions or be any help with your buying and selling needs, please don't hesitate to reach out to us at The Art of Real Estate.